Cameroon. The country heads to the polls this Sunday, with the 92-year-old President Paul Biya seeking an eighth term after more than 4 decades in power. His hold on office has long been unshakable, but the opposition remains divided, and questions about electoral fairness and voter security loom large. On the ground in Yaoundé, Channel Africa's Moki Kindzeka reports on the mood among voters and the challenges facing the country ahead of the election. Good morning, Moki. How are you this Friday?
Good morning. I'm well. There's heavy rainfall in Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé, now, but Yaoundé is okay. We are okay too.
All right. So you've been covering the campaign quite closely. We've had some catch-up sessions with you on the show. How are Cameroonians feeling as they head to the polls this Sunday?
In fact, a lot of Cameroonians are feeling very, very disappointed. Disappointed because the candidate of them hope will stand for the elections was disqualified. That is Maurice Kamto, the main opposition leader. That notwithstanding, they have thrown their weight behind some of the candidates. That is who resigned from Biya's government, said he had repented and promised that he's going to save Cameroon, to remove Cameroon from the sufferings Cameroon has been having. He said he was very sorry for everything he did while he served President Biya for about 20 years. So the anxiety is still there amongst a lot of his supporters. Other Cameroonians think that he is not the right person, that they think that nothing will change, that Mr. is going to win the elections. So they are not even thinking of voting. You see, the elections management body, ELECAM, is reporting that so many Cameroonians have not turned out to take their voters' card, which will permit them to vote that day. So it is a mixed reaction along on the streets of Yaoundé of people who are anxious and others are not anxious at all. They think nothing is going to change.
So as you mentioned that Maurice Kamto, one of the main challenges, was disqualified, and how that's affected public trust in the election process. Others are mostly saying they don't believe that this election could bring real change, and they'd rather not even vote. Is there a sense then that the outcome has already been determined from these elections?
Belief out here is that to win. He is the one who appoints all the members of the elections management body, ELECAM, and some of them are former members of his party. Some of Paul Biya's collaborators are appointed to that organ. You know, this is the 8th mandate Mr. Biya is going to be seeking, and he has won all previous mandates. Even the last mandate in 2018, you know, Kamto said he won, but he was seized by Biya. You know, the belief generally out here is that nothing is going to come out of these elections. Although a few people still think that if they vote and defend their vote, that is, when you vote, you stay at the polling station to make sure the counting is done when you are there, and then you follow the counting, the process right to the divisional control commissions to make sure they don't tamper out the results. Something may change. There are 33,000 polling stations in Cameroon, 33,000 polling stations. And the law says all candidates should be represented at the polling station. There is only one candidate who is represented at the polling station. That is the candidate of Paul Biya. The other parties say they don't have the money to send people to all the polling stations and so on. So you understand that if the other candidates say they can only send people representing, there will be about 23,000 polling stations where it's only the president of the republic who is represented. The opposition is not represented. So people are generally saying nothing will change. Paul Biya is going to win.
Paul Biya recently held his first major rally in Marua, promising to improve security, to tackle youth unemployment, and upgrade infrastructure. What was the public's response to that address?
It is the same thing Paul Biya has been saying. That's what the public says. Remember that Paul Biya was, the last time he went to that Marua, which is on Cameroon's far north, in Cameroon's border with Chad. The last time he went to Marua was in 2018 when he went to campaign. When he went there, he promised to extend the railway from Yaoundé, a neighboring town, to Chad, passing through Marua. That has never been done. He never did it. When Mr. Biya also went there, he promised that he was going to improve roads, improve especially roads linking production basins so people can transport their livestock and their agricultural produce to the farms. That has not been done. The people complain. So when I was making campaign promises, talking about creating jobs for the road network, talking about a lot of things, people just say is one more promise that is not going to be respected. A lot of people think that Paul Biya has ruined Cameroon's economy. So the population in the far north region, they were even saying it. What is he going to tell us this time again? What is he going to tell us this time again? And of course, he made the promises, and people know, and they're saying they don't trust what Mr. Biya said.
There's been talk of a surge in energy among the women voters and young people who are voters or eligible voters. Is that the case as you see it? And from what you're seeing, could these groups influence the result?
The figures actually increased from about 6 million voters in 2018 when the last elections took place to 8.2 million voters. And the majority of those who increased the population, the number of voters, are youths and women. Now, you asking why did they decide to register? They decided to register thinking that Maurice Kamto was going to be a candidate. That's the first thing. The second thing, they decided to swell the voters list was because they thought that Paul Biya was not going to run again. That's the second thing. But all of this has not happened. Paul Biya is running, so they are disappointed. Secondly, Maurice Kamto is not there, so they are disappointed. But civil society groups, opposition party leaders have been moving around, even church leaders, pastors, bishops, they have been moving around encouraging the youth that don't be discouraged. Go and vote what your mind tells you, and maybe there's going to be a change. So let's hope there's still 3 days ahead. Sunday is still 2 days ahead. Maybe people will still listen and go out to vote.
With lockdowns in the Anglophone regions and ongoing security concerns, how likely is it that people will be able to vote safely on Sundays, those who go out to vote?
I'm sure people who are listening will be thanking you very much for that question you are asking, because the situation in the northwest and southwest regions, where the Anglophone regions, is very, very, very preoccupying. As we speak, separatists have vowed that no election is going to take place there. And they have kidnapped, they have abducted several people, they have even killed some. They have chased election observers, they have chased the election management body, they have chased government officials from their regions, but the government keep telling them that, you see, on elections day, we are going to protect you. The people are asking, when you protect us, when the military comes and protect us during election day and leaves, what is going to be happening thereafter? We are going to be left here with the rebels, with the terrorists, or with the rebels supporting the Anglophone group, so it is difficult for them to vote. Also remember that in 2018, it was a similar situation. The rebels said no voting is going to take place, and a lot of people were killed because they defied the instructions from voters. It is a similar situation in the far north region, where there is Boko Haram insurgency. The Boko Haram fighters have chased many people from their towns and villages, and their towns, and they are in the bushes or in towns far away from their people without documents. They did not even register. There, I can tell you that elections are not going to take place. Also, don't forget that in the eastern region, on Cameroon's border with the Central African Republic, there are also rebel incursions displacing millions of people. And 2 days ago, there was an attack by rebels from the Central African Republic in eastern Cameroon. These are the issues that still make people to think that elections may be held, but they may not be what people thought. Only about 2.7 million voters out of 6 million voted in 2018. It means more than half, more than 55% did not vote. It may be a similar situation this year because nothing has changed yet. There's still a lot of attacks by rebels, still a lot of attacks by terrorists in the far north region, and still a lot of incursions by people fighting for a change in the Central African Republic.
Well, Moki, we'll leave it there for now, and thanks for this update.
We're very grateful, and we're listening to you.
That's Moki Kindzeka, Channel Africa's Yaoundé correspondent, reporting from Cameroon's capital. Cameroon going to vote this Sunday.